how many of you guys rent a place? Wow, so how many of you guys don't? How many of you guys aren't voting? How many of you guys didn't vote in the last election? Okay. I'm an apartment owner myself. I had bought a house at the right time. My wife and I, we were kind of forced into it. It shot up in value, we sold it. We bought another place. It shot up in value, we sold it, we bought an apartment. So to some people, I'm a landlord. It's kind of strange being a landlord. It's also a lot of work. You end up doing most of your own repairs. You don't really have you end up doing an awful lot of work on yourself. Now what's weird about being a landlord is the guy who holds my note, I pay a mortgage too. The guy who holds my note is my landlord. So I'm a landlord to some people, and someone else is my landlord. Now I have owner-carried financing. In other words, when I bought my place, the guy who sold it to me, he's rich enough, he says, you know what, I'll carry the mortgage. When I write my check, I write it to a person, not to a bank. That's really the way to go. Now, I don't talk to my tenants very much, because it makes them nervous. So when I got a call from my landlord saying he wanted to see me, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Am I late? Am I behind on something? No, I think I'm okay. So I went to the office to see what my landlord wanted. I was a little concerned. But my landlord's a good guy. He's rich, very rich. He owns most of the city. In fact, probably most of the county. He made his fortune in real estate. And he extends an awful lot of credit. So when he wants to see me, I go right in. I got there early. In fact, I got there really early. And they shown me into the waiting room for his office, right? It's huge. It is gigantic. And I can see my landlord in his office down there. And there's some guy talking with him. And there's my landlord. There's this guy. And over here is this kind of stuffy suit-looking sort of guy, maybe an accountant or an attorney. And if I can see them. I can't quite hear them unless I'm really quiet. And I was just about to, well, I'm a little nervous. So I was thinking, what do I expect? So I was going to kind of listen in when I realized I wasn't alone. There was another guy in the room. Now, this guy, he looked nervous. He was a wreck. I mean, his hair was all messed up. He looked like he'd slept in his clothes, except it also looked like he hadn't slept in days. And I was looking at him going, man, this guy he's really nervous. I almost didn't recognize him. But then as he looked at me, I realized I knew this guy. We used to be friends. In fact, he's another apartment owner. He owns a place right down the street from me. And, well, this is a pretty sad story. He's actually, I say he still owns an apartment down the street from me because he lost everything else. We got into the business about the same time, but he inherited his father's debt, and he made it worse. He just piled it on. He lost everything except for this one last apartment. We don't really talk much anymore. I decided to say hi. But just as I was about to say hi, the landlord comes out with his last appointment and sends him on. And he motions for my old friend to go on in with him. So I just say hi and I watch him go on into the office. So here I'm alone, right? I'm in the waiting room, and I can see my landlord, and I can see my old friend, and I decide, well, I'll go ahead and listen in. So I'm listening in. Okay, I kind of missed the first part of the conversation. But here's how it goes. You hear my landlord say, you gave me no choice. Please, I just need another chance. Please, give me more time. You couldn't possibly pay me back. How much is he owe now with interest? And then I hear the accountant say, okay, those are some papers. $3.24 billion, sir. $3.24 billion. That's a 3 with 9 zeros after it. That's an insurmountable debt. I mean, 3.24, I couldn't even wrap my head around that number, $3.24 billion. So I did the math afterwards, okay? $3.24 billion. The median house price around here is $625,000. For $3.24 billion, you could buy 5,000 homes. Okay, just kind of picture in your head, in the satellite photos, 5,000 homes. The city we're in right now has a total of 12,000 homes. So for $3.24 billion, you could buy almost half the city. This is the insurmountable debt that my friend owed. I mean, how do you even begin to make a dent in that? So I hear my landlord say, there's no way you can repay me. I've already given you 3 extensions. I have the court papers. I'm going to foreclose on your property tomorrow. I'm sorry. Please just give me another chance. I just need more time. I have a family. I'm going to lose everything. For the love of God, please. And I watch my landlord turn away from him. He talks to his accountant kind of quietly. The accountant gives him the, "Are you sure?" sort of look. Landlord nods, goes back to my friend. Says, "It's okay, get up. Can you hear me?" Says, "Please, I just need more time." "It's all right. I decided not to foreclose on your property." Says, "I'll pay you back, I promise. I'll give you what I have now." Says, "It's okay. It's all right. I know you can't forgive me, for repay me, and more time is not going to help. I decided to cancel your debt. Completely forgiven. You're a free man." $3.24 billion. Completely forgiven. An insurmountable debt. Just like that. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's an insurmountable debt, and he just forgave it. Now, my friend couldn't believe it either. You can kind of see, he looked kind of really confused. Like he didn't quite understand what was being said. He kind of blinked, shook his head, and then he kind of got it. And he started to understand. It's been forgiven. And he started smiling. He started grinning ear from ear. And he practically was going to leap for joy. He said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Oh, my God, this is so great. Thank you so much." And it took the landlord some time to get him out of the office. I did hear him say, "I'm going to send the documents to you. It's okay. Go in peace." And my friend, he rushed past me. He was overjoyed. I mean, you could see the relief on his face. He was a new man. The whole world was new again. You could see, I mean, he was forgiven. Insurmountable debt, forgiven, canceled. Well, now I didn't feel so nervous about saying my landlord. But my visit was a little less eventful. It turns out I'd overpaid him. And he was going to have the accountant draw me up a check and be ready the next day. So I went on home, thinking to myself, wow, $3.24 billion, completely forgiven. That's amazing, an insurmountable debt, just like that. Well, the next day, I go back to my landlord's office to pick up the check. And as I'm picking up the check, the landlord realizes that we knew each other. He asked me if I would mind delivering a package for him. "Could you drop this off?" Since he lived right down the street from me, I agreed. Says his instructions are very clear, though. I had to give it to him in person, and if I couldn't deliver it, I had to bring it back. Sure, no problem. So I headed home, still thinking of the events that had happened just the day before. As I got home, I parked, and since my friend's apartment's right down the street, thinking that just yesterday, this would have been a day that he lost everything, that his apartment would have been foreclosed upon. So I'm walking down the street, heading towards that place, thinking about this wonderful thing. The sheriff's squad car cruises by me. I get a little concerned, so I pick up my pace to try to see what's going on. I get there just in time to see my friend meet the sheriffs. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong? I stop at the corner of the building and watch my friend take the sheriff's around to the back. And he knocks on the door. I see some eyes behind the curtains. The man that answers the door, he's an older man, kind of retirement age. He's got a tattoo on his arm, marks him as a veteran. And I hear my friend say to him, "You leave me no choice. Please, just give me another chance, please. I've already given you 3 chances. You're 3 months behind on rent. There's no way you're going to be able to pay me back. I'm going to have to evict you. Please, my disability checks are coming. My wife just got a new job. I'm going to lose everything. Please, for the love of God, give me another chance." And I watched my friend pause, and he turned away to the sheriffs. And they talked quietly. And the sheriff gave me, "Are you sure?" sort of look. He nodded. And sheriffs turned around, got on the radios, made some notes. And I watched my friend go back to his tenant and says, "There's no way you're going to be able to repay me." He says, "Please, just give me more time. I'll give you what I have now, and we'll pay you the rest next week." He says, "No, you're too far behind. There's no way you're going to be able to repay me. More time won't help. I'm going to have to evict you. You have 3 minutes to come up with everything you owe me, or the sheriffs are going to throw you out." The man says, "Please, I just need another chance. Just give me more time." 3 minutes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, 3 minutes? 3 minutes. Just the day before, he had been forgiven an insurmountable debt of $3.24 billion. And today, he couldn't extend the same forgiveness for 3 months' rent? And he gives him 3 minutes? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It sickened me. I couldn't face my friend and then give him the documents. I left. I went back to my house. I had to get away. I got in my car and drove back to my landlord's office to drop off the documents. He was surprised to see me. He asked me what was wrong. What was I going to do? I told him everything I saw. He asked me to stay. So I stayed. Saw him get on the phone and call my friend. Oh, he must have dropped everything and come right in because he was there in minutes. My friend got there. Landlord calls him in. He says, "You merciless man, I forgave all that debt, canceled it because you begged me. Shouldn't you have shown the same forgiveness to your tenant?" My landlord was furious. He tore up the document that was going to cancel my friend's insurmountable debt. And he foreclosed on that house. My friend lost everything. My landlord forgave an insurmountable debt. My friend did not forgive a comparatively tiny debt. My landlord forgave everything. My friend took everything from his tenant. I learned a lesson about forgiveness that day. Reflecting back on that, $3.24 billion, and what an insurmountable debt, and yet my friend did not forgive such a small thing. Brothers and sisters, by now you know what parable I'm telling you about. We have inherited from our father, Adam, an insurmountable debt of sin. And then we just make it worse. We pile more on top of it. But when we cast ourselves upon our Lord's mercy, he forgives, he cancels that complete debt. In fact, he pays for it himself. So, shouldn't we then extend the same forgiveness to other people? A comparably small debt, especially considering everything that he's done for us. Our Father's forgiven us an insurmountable debt. We should forgive other people when they sin against us. When other Christians, now this parable is about other Christians, sin against us, we should forgive them just like our Father's forgiven us. If we do not forgive, it's in Matthew chapter 18. Let me just read to you the last few verses. The parable goes from verse 21 to 35. Verses 32 to 35 read, "Then the master called the servant in. 'You wicked servant,' he said, 'I canceled all that debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you?' In anger, his master turned him over to the jailers to be tortured until he should pay back all he owed. This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother from your heart." Thank you.